Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FlightCheck podcast. This is episode 5. Super excited to talk the in memoriam episode for FlyQuest Academy. A little bit of LCS news and some MSI news as well. This is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, but who knows? If people drop enough hot takes and questions into the chat tonight, maybe it'll go a little bit longer than we were planning to.
Or
For what
maybe
it's
if we
worth,
go off on a tangent.
or if we go off on a 30-minute tangent like we are wont to do sometimes. I am Sandy Toes, here with my hosts Nox War and Curly Double Q. Let's go to them, see how they're doing. Nox, how's your week been? How you feeling, man?
It's been all right. It's been a bit of a long day for me today, though, but I'm not going to go too deep into that. Some personal stuff going on. But other than that, though, I've been okay. Just grinding, doing things, working on myself. Same old, same old.
Hey, that's great. Love the grind. Hope the personal stuff gets better. Curly, how about you? Hey, let's talk a little MeatQuest. How was your MeatQuest this week?
You know, my MeatQuest this week was actually really good. There's a lot of just good things in my life I feel going on right now. I've kind of gotten on top of things, really focusing on stuff. This week I think I hit the success combo because I've been, hitting the gym for, 4 or 5 days per week. So I did that all last week. Just came from it earlier today. Nice. I actually cleaned up my room on Friday, like really cleaned it up compared to what there you go. Yeah. And then I'd like to say I did some improvement in League of Legends today because I finally, after a couple of weeks of having win 1, lose 2, win 2, lose 1, I actually had a 100% win rate today, and I feel like I was just a lot more tame and everything. So yeah. So that's success combo with the hobby, organization, and physical going on. And so that's where I am at with MeatQuest.
Look at this man go. Now, I gotta ask, when it comes to your room, you said more clean than usual. So, what's the standard here? Where are we going? What are we looking at? What's bronze, clean room? What's the gold clean room?
When I say more than normal, I mean I made sure there's at least 50% of each desk space open. That should be. I really organize where things are on that. I consolidated stuff in the bathroom. I took my rug into the hallway because I live in a dorm room. I took it and I shook it out. And then I swept the hell out of my room and I mopped it with my Swiffer. And I finally took out some recycling that had been building up a minute. Deeper cleaning. I really took some time.
There you go.
Hello, Switchbox, by the way. I see you in the chat.
Oh, hello, Switchbox. Good to see you, brother.
How's it going, Switch?
Well, like I said, going to be a bit of a shorter episode today. We only had a couple series from FlyQuest Academy. First, we got to do a little bit of an apology. We did not explain the Proving Grounds format enough. I don't think we were even aware at the time of last week's episode just how many rounds we're going to advance.
No, we did not.
They ended up playing 2 series. I was only able to catch the first one. The second one, I was at a baseball game, and I basically, in between innings, would pull out my phone and I'd check the game, and then play would resume, and I'd be like, all right, well, I gotta get back to this. It definitely, obviously, for those who were watching, fell to TSM Academy on Friday night. I believe that was a 2-1. The Dig Academy series on Tuesday night prior, that was a 2-0. But in that one, obviously, we looked a little bit better. Had a little bit of help from Dig Academy. But hey,
a little bit.
But I mean, not to throw shade at any one team in particular, but maybe the biggest throw I've seen in a professional game of League of Legends since TSM's throw to Team Liquid last weekend. So, these things happen. But hey, let's get into this first series. So, us, Fly Academy versus Dig Academy, 2 games, and game 1, fairly clean. the macro was pretty good. A pretty standard draft for us, I felt like.
I would agree with that.
The Gnar for Kumo, triple on the Orianna, Tristan Rakan in the bot lane. Felt like a standard draft. Nox, what were your thoughts on like this first game?
First game, I thought it was like we came in and it was just, hey, we're gonna play the way that we want to play. And I remember I was even writing on Twitter, it was like, man, this is a real our comfort draft versus Dignitas comfort draft, and whoever wins this is basically going to dictate the pace of the rest of the series. And so we end up winning that game 1, and immediately it was like, okay, well now we get to just continue playing this, and Dignitas has to figure out how to play against it because they can't do what they just did this game. Like doing a salty run back, you're just going to have the same run over again. So I think we did exactly what we needed to do in draft. I think we played exactly how we needed to play in game, and it was just nice. It was just really, really clean. It was one of the better games that we've had.
For sure. And I have to apologize because I just made a huge mistake. I was looking at the wrong draft. We actually played Cho'Gath, Hecarim, Victor, Kai'Sa, Rel. So look,
Cho'Gath made me so happy. You have no idea.
I pride myself on fact checking and accuracy on this show, and I will not let that go another 2 minutes without correcting that draft. But still, ultimately, another pretty typical draft for us. The Victor comfort pick for triple.
Triple, absolutely.
Rel, fantastic draft. Curly. Talk to me a little bit about this series. Obviously, the second game was wildly different from
the second
first
game
one.
was so different, but what we saw from that is, in my opinion, number one, our typical strategy working out for us in a surprisingly good way of always being prepped for the mid to late game. But on top of that, the new strategy of trying to enable Kumo, because I see in your notes here, you're like, how did we win those top lane fights? Two things.
Yeah,
a little bit of that Aatrox magic
and Aatrox.
Yeah,
like that game really showed why pro players pick Aatrox, because that is Aatrox in his prime, surviving way longer than he should. Because you're like, what? How does he have that much lifesteal in Omnivamp? But he does. And because it's based a lot on damage, like not just like hitting, because a lot of his, kit of Omnivamp, it's like all Omnivamp, so he gets so much from landing a really solid Q. And because there's 3 of them, it's, it was just, you let him scale. And he really popped off. And because, Rel was there to gather everyone in one place so he could hit his Qs. So Rel and Aatrox had a really good synergy, and they were able to just keep doing that in every team fight, and that's how we won a not sloppy game, but not as clean game as we had opened up the series with.
Well, and the crazy thing to me is that, they had Ocean Soul. It is just so difficult to fight into the Ocean Soul, and like
so does Aatrox.
if you look at what we had in our team, like there's not a lot of poke. Like you've kind of got the Kai'Sa W, you've got a little bit of poke from Victor, but beyond that, like Udyr, melee, Aatrox melee, Rel melee. There's not a lot of poke. Not that the poke would have really helped much against the Ocean Soul, but anything that FlyQuest did, poke wise, would not have had much of an effect, right?
Exactly. And so I think our comp was actually really well prepped for that, because a lot of it has to do with like being all up in your face and doing a lot of damage. Unloading so much with the Aatrox and Kai'Sa Qs, probably, like I want to say, is a real big part of how we were able to do so much damage later.
Yeah, Nox, I mean, how do you think I really don't know how we won this match. Like, beyond like getting the perfect team fight, like, how do you feel we won this?
Let me put it this way. We don't win this if it's not for Dignitas inting the absolute living hell out of it a little bit. So that the very first top lane fight, like, don't get me wrong, I'm still amazed that we won that fight, because even then, 3v5 with a stacked Ocean Soul, when they're up 16-4 in kills and a 6k gold lead, even 3v5, like, that's pushing like that's like an even fight at that point, right? So they're inting it at this point basically, and even then the fight was like, how did we get away with that? And so because I mean, who's the digging? Yusui ults the Rise, and the three of them all top lane, and the triple's there, the Aatrox is there, and they basically just outplay them. It's like, oh my god, like how did we win that fight? And it's a combination of wombos and combos basically coming together and allowing us to survive and actually just go in on them. It's a combination of FlightQuest understanding, hey, we're not going to win this via poke because they have Ocean Soul. Like, if we're going to fight, we have to go in. And basically the rest of the game was going to be played on a knife's edge of, like, we have to go in. And if we go in, it's either all or nothing. And basically, not to say that it was a coin flip, but it was really just like, hey, if it lands on tails, we're done and we're going to game 3. But to put it simply, they flipped heads 3 times in a row, and they won 3 fights in a row. And next thing you know, it's a 2-0, and I'm sitting here losing my shit on Twitter and in the Discord, going, "Oh my god, what the hell happened?
How did we win this game?" Yeah, super nutty series, and I mean, big props to the players for being able to keep their mental in a strong place, right? It's not easy to go down 6K gold, and then bring it back to a 2K deficit, down Ocean Soul. That's tough. I mean, it at some point you're like, oh, they got Soul. It starts to feel like, okay, this loss might be inevitable, but bounce back. So
it was funny. Did you guys see Tomo's Twitter after that game?
No, I missed that.
I did not.
Give us the deets.
He added Fantix, who's the coach for FlyQuest Academy, and he was like, "Hey, coach, you do know that in scrims we FF this at 10 minutes, right?"
The old FF at 10. It's not even the FF at 15 anymore. You just gotta.
No, it's FF at 10.
Yeah, you gotta make that a whole 5 minutes early. Honestly, if Riot could let me FF at 10, I think I'd have a few more productive ranked games. That's for sure. Because
Season 12 change is incoming.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes get into a game and I'm just doing some jungle farming. I'm power farming because that's all jungle does these days. And I look up and it's 4 minutes in and we're down 4-0. And I don't even know how it happened because all my laners got solo killed or duo killed. It's and at that point, FF at 10, please. So all right, so Dig 2-0, pretty good. I mean, that's good. It put us in top 8 for the entire tournament. And when you consider some of the teams that got knocked out already, like TLA were supposed to be a big favorite in the tournament, right? I would say top 8, which is where we ended up. I think top 8 is not. I don't want to say
it's shorter than what I had hoped for, but based off of performance, I'm not upset.
Right, I'm not upset with this finish. Like, I think it's a good finish. I think they could have done more, but it's acceptable. Maybe is the word for it. I don't know, Curly. How do you feel about top 8?
I mean, coming off of the hype that I had from watching all of Arena of Legends, and where we got second, and then coming into this thinking, all right, we can do this. And then also because we finished the regular season 6. Personally, as much as I like, you're right, it's acceptable. I definitely would have liked more, and I had a little bit higher expectations. There's a few things that I think might have just played into our hand of like that we didn't go quite as far as we wanted, but I think we can get into that a little bit more after we discuss FlyQuest versus TSM, because that's what's got us in 8th place. And so
So first game, we went with the Ornn. Interesting pick. We've not seen a lot of Ornn in this meta so far. And then kept it with more Udi or Hecarim.
You're so sick of those picks, Sandy.
I'm tired of Hecarim Udyr. No more Udyr Hecarim 2021. That's the hashtag, and I want everyone to get it trending on League Twitter. No more Udyr Hecarim. Just ban those champs.
What's
them both.
terrible is I think we're still going to see it at MSI as well. There's not been any substantial nerfs to them at all.
I really hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too.
I mean, look, many times, I hope you're right because usually you're predicting, FlyQuest wins or good things for FlyQuest. But in this case, Nox, I really hope you are drastically incorrect because this world does not need more Udyr Hecarim matchups.
I wholeheartily agree.
Society has evolved past the need for Udyr Hecarim. We no longer need it. But anyway, game 1, good game, clean game, great game.
Same as Dignitas Academy game 1, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a very similar game. I mean, Nox, you watched this one, I know. So, I mean, maybe talk a little bit about the series as a whole.
Series as a whole, I mean, the main thing that for everyone listening, you guys need to understand is TSM Academy has not looked good for the past probably month and a half, 2 months. Straight up, I was flaming the Academy on Twitter. The fact that you have Hanser and Codison on your team, and you're having multiple rounds where you're just going 0-4 and dropping out of the tournament is unacceptable, honestly. Like, I don't think any level of that is okay. And so finally they were showing resurgence, and they were showing like, hey, this is probably the level of play that they should have. And so after, I forget who they played first round of Proving Grounds, but after they dropped down, they basically just started winning. I know they played Barrage, and they beat Barrage pretty handily, which I also, I won't talk about it, but there's some stuff about Barrage not being able to perform and reasons behind it. But basically, TSM beat them, and we ended up matching up against them. And basically, I think TSM kind of found their strat at the right time. And I think, honestly, we underperformed. And so we go into game 1, and we have a normal clean macro style. And then games 2 and 3 were us out macroing them, but basically just getting skill checked in team fights. And that was how TSM won.
Absolutely, yeah. I watched that series today, and it was so interesting because with game 2 and 3, there were moments like, it was always between 20 and like 25 where I was like, all right, FlyQuest definitely has this. Like,
we were winning.
We were winning. We have, like, with game 2, we had so many objectives. We had their inhib, like at least 1 or 2 inhib towers down. For some reason, though, we didn't prioritize Drakes, and that was something that I think that kind of led to our downfall, because they were just able to deal more damage to us, which made it like more difficult in the team fights and allowed us to be checked, skill checked, like you said. And then I think, personally, I think RNG is part of what screwed us in the second one, or that third match, because we did prioritize the Drakes, but it was a Cloud Drake, which is only so useful.
Yeah.
I just have to interrupt here and note something. Road Roller in the chat has noted that we need Corki versus Azir. Road Roller, much like Udyr Hecarim, society has evolved way past the need for we do not need either of these matchups in our LCS futures whatsoever. And if I see anyone playing these champs in the future, they will be flamed appropriately. Thank you. This has been a PSA.
FlightCheck does not condone the views of its hosts or flaming its listeners/viewers.
Anyway.
Wow, where were we?
This is a tangent I was talking about, guys. It's going to be 30 minutes of us flaming Road.
Assassin and oh boys. All right, metas. That's something we could talk about way down the line. But I mean, I guess there's. So I guess.
So what went wrong though? Do you think in this series, right?
I would say the big thing that probably went wrong with this was just I'm trying to think and put my words together. Basically, the way I think about it is FlyQuest was putting a huge emphasis on trying to, man, I don't even know how I want to put it, honestly. Basically, a lot of it just came down to we were wanting to contest on certain parts of the map when it was just we could probably go to a different part of the map. Like we were playing the map smart, right? Like you watched like Triple on Akali was like split pushing the entire time, and game 2 Kumo on the Gnar was split pushing the entire time. Like in TSM was not having answers to it at all. But then there was just random moments, and I shouldn't say they're random, but there were moments where it was just we as a team decided to go to an objective, and we met TSM there, and it was just, oh, well, we lose the fight because we're getting skill checked on team fighting, which is also kind of depressing because I actually hold the team in higher regards than in our team fighting than that. So, I mean, yes, granted, I kind of see maybe they had the past experience of thinking, okay, we should just be able to beat them in a team fight. We're up, we're splitting, we have the map pressure. And that was honestly what kind of kept us in the game so long when we would lose those team fights. But for whatever reason, on the day, we were getting skill checked and we kept losing the team fights, and then TSM would regain control of the map, and at that point, we'd have to fall back on our foot a little bit and work on the split push, and once again, we'd go to another team fight and get checked on it again. We kind of repeated that thing over and over and over again, and we ended up losing the series because of it.
Yeah.
Another thing that I actually think hurt us in these last two was a little bit of a draft issue. In the fact that we let Wukong through twice. I find it intriguing that we let Wukong through twice, again, especially against Aatrox, because we banned him against Urgot, which I think Urgot could have handled him just fine. But with Aatrox, it kind of, I don't know, I think it hurts a little more, because one thing I've learned since the last time I talked about Wukong is that also the more you hit him, the more armor he gets, which is part of why he's such a nuisance. And I saw, especially in the last game, he was just getting more kills, more bang for the buck than Kumo was getting on Aatrox. And so I think that was one thing that we let slip through that hurt us just a little bit in those later fights. But
yeah, I think
look at the draft again real quick.
Another thing actually is I think what also happened is TSM did to us what we did to Dig. What goes around comes around. Could have just been the good old universe playing tricks on us, you know?
One good turn deserves another, you might say.
Yeah, I'm looking at the draft again, and it just we banned the Camille, which I actually think is a smart pick because we have a Jinx that we prioritize really early, and if Camille gets onto the Jinx, like you're not getting out of that, so that's fine. I get that. I'm trying to understand the Tristana ban though. I don't know if either of you want to chime in on that.
I mean, Tristana it's just a good pick. I mean, you know, can go mid, it can go bot. You know, it's a great split pusher.
I watched a streamer today win with the Tristana diff, you know?
I mean, the TSM comp in game 3, yeah, doesn't have really any split push at all, or at least not a ton. So, like, that could have been, you know, limiting them in that capacity. And then, you know, just the matchup into Jinx, maybe they knew they were. I'm not seeing the order of picks and bans. If you have that, Nox, maybe.
Yeah. So we first picked Udyr. They follow with Rel Olaf. Then we have Jinx, Gragas, and then they finish with Zoe on pick 3. And then they round out banning out Triple, which we end up picking Akali for, and we go Tristana and Camilla's bans. And then we finish up blue 4 and 5 with Akali Aatrox, and then obviously they R5 the Wukong again, which was just played in game 2. I don't know. I think I'm looking at a series too much, and I think I'm still a little upset that we lost, which is why I'm so harping on it. But
it's not the way we wanted to end, especially because, you know, we have such good gameplay overall. We have really good macro. We really know how to play the map, and we can clearly take losing games and turn them around. And like during Arena Legends, it was always 1-2. We let them win the first one, and then we came back in the second 2. You know.
Yeah.
And then, I mean.
Yeah. So let's zoom out of the series then, and maybe just take a look at Fly Academy as a whole, right?
Yeah.
You know, clearly something that we've talked about several times on the show before, and I know you, Nox, have like really been a proponent of, is how good their macro is.
Yep.
You know, for an academy team, you could say probably one of the best teams in the academy. world in terms of macro. And
I have a bit of a hot take, so let me know what you guys think of this. But I actually think we may have better macro than the actual FlightQuest main squad. Maybe a hot take. Tell me what you think.
Interesting.
I mean, that's a yeah. Whew, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to like. I don't know if I can give my thought on that, like just off the top of my head.
I think contextually,
I haven't.
It might look like, I don't know. I don't know if I have an authority to say that, but from what it might be is we might seem to, like, the Academy team might appear to have better macro. And I want to say this in the most respectful way possible, because of the context they are in, because it's in the context of Academy. So
True.
They look that much better. Whereas if we put them in against TSM main squad, even with the way that they have been inconsistent this spring split, I think just TSM main squad would be able to, potentially two of them. I don't know.
No, yeah. Absolutely possible. I feel watching their play, they play very, very smart, and I compared to our main squad, because my main issue with the main squad was like a lot of their macro decisions just did not look that good to me, and so I don't know. Maybe it's just a stark difference of teams. Who knows? But I guess that's my personal feelings on it.
Well, I think you have to take into account that the main team, I think, was playing from behind a lot in spring, and so unlike the Academy team where they would get ahead early, especially in some of these both the Dig Game 1 and the TSM Game 1, got ahead early. And were able to just kind of control the map and play it to their own tempo and their own pace. When you're able to do that, and you have good enough macro, it is going to look very good in that context, right? But the main team, I felt, if they did not get ahead early, they just struggled to keep up, and they just got out-tempoed a lot. Personally, it just in terms of the future of this team, I'm interested to see, if the meta changes at all, especially when it comes to the jungle. I think, and this goes, I think, for both the Academy team and the main team. I feel like, the Udyr Hecarim meta has really limited both NXI and Jose Deodo.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're both very aggressive players that have been inhibited by the champions that are available to them. I think we got to see, a wider champion pool in Proving Grounds than we got to see in, the latter stages of LCS, where, we saw contracts on the Nidalee, Olaf. If Lee Sin is able to come back into the meta at any point, these are champions that both Jose and NXI can really take over a game on. So I mean, let's talk about the players on Academy themselves and just kind of how they did, where they came from, and where they're headed down the line. So I mean, let's just go top to bot here. Kumo, coming off of the Evil Geniuses main team, now on FlyQuest Academy. I mean, Curly, what would your assessment be? How, does he deserve to get looked at, again by an LCS main squad? Ignore the question of is there even any space? If there was a random, 11th expansion team, would he be a good consideration?
Well, from what I saw in Proving Grounds, I think there might be a potential spot for him in the LCS, because like I said in Arena Legends, I was I want to see more from him. In Proving Grounds, he showed up where I want him to. I really liked how powerful he felt on Aatrox. I loved him on Cho'Gath so much last week. And I want to say because with especially that Game 3 against TSM, we actually started out kind of rough. Not from what I saw, we didn't have as much control as we normally do. We were down, we got 3-0'd early on, but then later we were able to recover And I think it again came down to partially that Aatrox power. He didn't get the kills like in Dig, but the way he played in Proving Grounds, to me, does put him in LCS running. Especially if he performs really well over the summer split. As it is right now, I don't know where he would necessarily fall in the LCS. Maybe he could go to Golden Guardians if they don't hold on to Niles. Maybe he moves up to main roster if Licorice goes somewhere. Maybe EG says, "Hey, we want you back." I like. Those are some places I could potentially see him. If there's more growth, that might change. But where he's at right now, if an LCS scout looks at him, those are like 3 of the teams I think he could end up on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Nox, I mean, yeah, thoughts on Kumo?
Honestly, Curly summed it up pretty damn nicely. The only other team I'd add to it would maybe be CLG if for whatever reason they cannot retain Finn. Like if Finn wants out, I could see him possibly going to CLG. And I could possibly see him going to Immortals if Revenge leaves for whatever reason. Because I don't know how long Revenge plans on playing, because I know he's still trying to go to medical school or something. He's only taken like a year or something to try to play professionally. Don't quote me on that.
Revenge. Yeah, well, so, and I think a lot of these things, besides 100 roster moves, you're not going to see a lot of turnover, I think, in the in between season, especially with COVID still being a thing. You're not going to get, it can be tough just to move players around, things like that. So we'll see how that goes. NXI, I think, is a player that is not, and this is not like a knock against him, right? But I don't think he's near LCS right now.
He's just not ready yet. He's getting there.
He's straight up, the greenest of the green. This is his first like professional split. And he's got a lot to learn. I think there's a lot of potential there, and I'm really excited to see where he goes. But yeah, there's a lot of growth that needs. I'm excited to see if there's some more aggressive champions. Maybe NXI can really pop off. And if he does stream fairly regularly. It's a good watch. It's pretty enjoyable. If you're into,
especially for you, Sandy, who's a jungler.
If you're into jungling, that is the stream to watch. Besides Jose Deoda, who, by the way, I believe is currently number 4.
He's number 4 on the North American ladder right now.
North American ladder. That is pretty hype. Pretty good.
The boy is
dedicated to streaming 3 times a week, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good stream. If you understand Spanish too, it's an even better stream. Triple. We kind of talked about this previously, right?
Yeah.
We talked about, where could Triple go either this summer or next year. And I believe we had said CLG and 100 Thieves, obviously one of those, if you keep up with the news that dropped today, which we'll get into in a minute. One of those is not possible anymore, but Triple, obviously a really stable player. I don't know if this is a hot take, but this is my take. I think Triple is the best player on FlyQuest Academy.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that Dreams isn't good, right? I don't want it to sound like I think Dreams is trash or anything. I think Dreams is really good, but like if you're gonna point to like the star of the show, it's going to be Triple.
Hands down.
Even though we lost that game 3 to TSM, I was really excited to see him bust out the Akali. Like that was not a pick I was expecting him to play anytime soon. Like, I got used to seeing this man on the Victor and the Azir and the Orianna. Like that was like, all right, this is what he plays. That's cool. All right, he plays control mages.
He was actually playing that game 3 really, really well until that last fight where he went in and he immediately got exhausted and just had to back out and he couldn't do anything the rest of the fight.
Yeah, super hyped to see him play the Akali. Maybe if there's some more aggressive mid champs in the future, he'll play those too.
So with Triple though, I kind of want to sit here for a second because I know you said it definitely couldn't be 100 Thieves because, of the announcements they made today. I somewhat disagree with that.
Oh.
Because it's a little like, logistical things. Technically, if I remember correctly, 100 Thieves is owned by the same person that owns the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because, a lot of LCS teams are NBA backed, and so their backer is the Cavs. If they're anything like a Cleveland team, there will be a revolving door for the problem. If they think one thing is a problem, it will open up after the next season. So if it doesn't work out this summer split, there could be a spot for Triple next next season, but who knows?
The Nade Shot wallet has been getting its workout in. Feels like regularly.
But also
unlimited supply.
Unlimited supply. But also, if we're bringing back to how you started our discussion of the players, where if it's like changes don't matter, I could actually see Triple anywhere aside from maybe the big three. But who knows what the summer holds in store?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Because he could easily replace Soligo on Dig. He could easily replace Jizuke on EG. I mean, both of those players, while not bad, like. You could argue that Triple would be a downgrade, but it's not like a huge downgrade. He could slot in there and still do okay.
You could maybe say side grade.
Side grade, yes. That's probably a better terminology.
Personally,
think of any team that he's a big upgrade for, except for CLG. But and up until today, 100 Thieves. But
I could see him replacing Jensen.
What?
Yeah. Like if here's the thing, not at this instance, but if you follow the tradition of how players tend to improve the more they play, if he has enough improvement over a summer split, and maybe I don't know if he gets into season 12, but just from what I see here, following traditional growth patterns, I could absolutely see him replacing Jensen. Now, would it happen roster moves wise? No, but skill wise, I could see it.
So all I'll say, Curly, is that this is FlightCheck Hotline League. That started in just under 2 hours. That's I think that's where this take is deserving to go. I'm just messing. No, I mean, look. At the end of the day, players move on. At some point, they hit their ceiling, right? So yeah, I mean, there is a theoretical world where Liquid thinks that they're not going to get anything more out of Jensen. Like I'll treat the take realistically, right? Like they think, okay, we can't get anything more out of Jensen than we can already get. We think Triple's ceiling is higher, and they go for it. Sure, absolutely. Do I actually think that's going to happen? No, not a chance.
I don't think it's gonna
I think Jensen is
happen. No, but I think
Liquid member for a long time. So
I was gonna say, if you guys I have a hot take on Jensen, but remind me, and we can save it towards the end.
We can hold that for another time. If anything, we can hold that for the
MSI or something.
MSI or summer, yeah.
Yeah. So let's hit the bot lane real fast. Tomo and Dreams. I mean, the Dreams discussion, obviously, that'll be something we hit maybe a bit more towards summer, because that's still a big discussion with between starting him or Diamond. Tomo, I think, a pretty good player. I think he was on... what team was he on before FlyQuest Academy?
Hold on, I will Google it right now. Give me 10 seconds. Fill the air.
Oh wait, that's probably copyrighted. I can't do that.
You're gonna get it taken down.
We're gonna get DMCA'd. We're gonna get DMCA'd. Somebody play some.
Look, I've been watching Marvel recently, so
okay. Tomo was on C9 Academy before us.
He was on where?
Something that explains so much, in my opinion.
What team?
Well, that's right. No, I remember the announcement because we picked up Diamond and Palafox and Licorice, and there was like the other side pickup as well that no one really talked about because everyone was like, "Oh my God, we got Diamond, Palafox, and Licorice for the main team." But no, I remember seeing the announcement that we also picked up Tomo in that package.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. All right. Well, that's the team. I think they're all good players who have a bright future ahead in S. Right. I think they can all. Kumo can make it back to LCS. Dreams he played in LCS this spring. NXI, Triple, Tomo.
I could see Tomo on the main roster at some point, honestly. Personally.
Woo!
I could also see that, really. I mean, no offense to Johnson, and I want to give Johnson more time with Dreams because we only got 3 games, so it may have been bot lane synergy, but Johnson has not looked the best this past split. So, assuming if you pair Dreams with Johnson again for another couple games and it still isn't working out, I could just see that whole Academy bot lane coming up to the main roster and letting him play that way because they, as a duo, have been very, very solid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And then Tomo, I really like when Tomo gets his rhythm in, he does really, really well. And so I think he'd be valuable, like, especially, as I keep saying, as whatever we see over the summer, any growth we see, I definitely think he's someone that'll have eyes locked on him. I could see him getting to the LCS next season.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think all of the players on our team have a lot of potential. And, I'd love to see any of them get into LCS. That's what we want, right? We want these players who are sitting in Academy to grow, to get better, and to make it to the main stage where, they get to show off who they are and what they're all about. Like that's why Academy exists. That's why Amateur exists. That's why we're doing Proving Ground, because we want these players to get better. We want them
development.
And we want NA talent representing us at Worlds. Not that imports are bad. Love a good import. I am NA, right? But we want NA talent there as well.
Calm down, Reginald.
imports. Okay, so speaking of imports,
yeah, wow.
I know there's at least a 100 Thieves fan in the chat. Maybe some more, who knows? But 100 Thieves, more like 100 roster moves. I made this joke already, but I'm going to make it again because I think it's kind of funny. A lot of stuff happened in the last 3 days for 100 Thieves. Zix fired, I guess. I don't know if he was fired.
Let go. Whatever you want to call it.
He's not there anymore. He's gone.
Let go, and then 30 minutes later, welcome Reapered. Reapered returns to the LCS. He is going to be taking charge of 100 Thieves. That's pretty exciting. I love Reapered as a coach. I think he's a great coach. Honestly, I wish FlyQuest could have picked him up. Oh well. I would have been super hyped if we had Reapered. But great coach. I think, and then this kind of kickstarted some of the rumors that we had been seeing that, Reapered, he's worked with Niski. Are they going to get Niski? I think a lot of people were expecting Niski. But then today, I'm sitting there, I'm at work, taking a quick break, I'm checking Twitter. Boom. Welcome. Surprise. Welcome Abadage. Honestly, I knew that he had been kind of bandied about, right, as the possibility. But, they also announced someday got his green card. He's an official NA resident. So they can make this move. So this obviously brings up a whole lot of questions. We are not the podcast to get good insight into 100 Thieves. For that, I want the 100 Talk Pod, who should be coming online in about maybe an hour and 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Please go check out their podcast. I know they are. Cole and Jordan are very excited
They're hyped for tonight.
They are so hyped to talk about that.
I'd be hyped if I were them too.
Twitch.tv/100talkpod, I believe. If somebody...
Yes, correct.
Yes, that is correct.
If that's wrong, correct me. Great. But yeah, my quick take on this, I think this makes 100 Thieves. This puts them up top 3. All these moves, this should edge them over TSM, in my opinion. I don't know. Knox, Curly, thoughts?
You take it first, Curly.
What, me, the LEC expert of
Yes, you.
Yeah, you are the LEC expert. Yeah.
Of FlightCheck, yes. So Abadage. Oh my god. This is going to shake things up in the LCS. 100 Thieves might have a really good shot when it comes to playoffs, because they are going to make playoffs with Abadage. No doubt about that.
They made playoffs without Abadage.
They made playoffs without Abadage. Imagine if they had him. Honestly, if they
Imagine
had Abadage,
if they don't make playoffs.
It might have been like, if they had Abadage, I would have changed everything about my predictions for the entire tournament. Because especially after what I saw from Abadage, like in the season, this man, he's just like, in terms of the LEC, you know, he's really good, really good. I mean, Schalke beat out Fnatic, like almost was. There was some part of my brain that was like, could we see Mad versus Schalke finals? And Abadage was a significant part of that. So this kid is going to.
He's good.
Like, there's only so much I can say.
He's very, very good.
He's going to be good.
I mean, and you know, there is a little bit of prior history. Abe and Closer played together on Royal Bandits a few years ago, so there is, you know, there's a lot of potential here. Like I said, I think this makes sense.
I'm gonna say it right now, top 3 team.
Yeah, I think top 3
I
team.
also think it'll. I'll be curious to see how Bjerg levels up in his coaching and his strategies over the course of summer, but off of the direct upgrades right now, I'm also going to say yes, it will probably be a top 3 team.
On paper, right now I still have C9 and TL as the top 2 teams, and then 100 Thieves right behind them.
Yeah.
So that's that. Like I said, twitch.tv/100talkpod in about an hour and 13 minutes. Go listen to the dads, Cole and Jordan. They are very excited to talk about this. And then the 2 small things, some Fs in the chat if we can, for the Vietnam Championship Series. Unfortunately, due to COVID travel restrictions, Gigabyte Marines cannot attend MSI. I'm really bummed.
I'm also really bummed, dude. Vietnamese teams are some of the funnest teams to watch on the international stage.
Yeah, they are so much fun to watch. They're a big up-and-coming region. You know, I'd say they're, you know, pretty competitive with, NA and LCL for sure. Really sucks, you know, didn't get to see them at Worlds. We don't get to see Gigabyte Marines at MSI. Hopefully, by the time Worlds rolls around, we'll actually get to have a couple Vietnamese teams. The restrictions will be lessened. Maybe something will get worked out. Who knows? They are not changing the format at all. So groups B and C remain the same. Group A is now solely RNG, Unicorns of Love, and Pentanet GG from OS. Obviously, the dankest timeline is when Unicorns of Love and Pentanet just upset RNG and knock them out of the tournament.
Wild.
That'd be fantastic. The OS boys rise, Unicorns of Love rise up and knock them out. So that'll be great.
So, if I may for a second.
Yeah.
I remember when they first popped onto the scene, I was just like, I was a kid in high school, and I was like, I was playing League of Legends, and I really didn't watch, like, Pro League. And my one friend was like, dude, you gotta check out this team. They came out of nowhere. They've got the funniest name, and they're actually really freaking good.
So if I may for a second, I was gonna say, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and Reddit and stuff writing off this Pentanet team, and don't get me wrong, they are severe underdogs. But I want people to recall, I think it was 2019 Worlds play-ins with Clutch Gaming in the group, in which case the UOL roster beat Clutch Gaming twice, but the Oceanic team, which I believe was Direwolves, beat the Unicorns of Love twice and forced a three-way tie. This Oceanic region can take games off of other regions. And I know there's been a huge Oceanic exodus going on, and their whole region's been hurt with the actual shutdown of the OPL and whatnot, but don't write them off yet completely. Don't be surprised if suddenly UOL drops a game to this Pentanet.gg team.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, it's best of ones, and anything can, like, things equalize out a little bit more in best of threes and definitely in best of fives. But unlike Worlds, because like I'm reminded personally of Worlds 2020 with I think Legacy, they went 3-1 in the play-ins group stage.
That's all. Yes, it's also true. There are good Oceanic players.
Yeah, they beat LGD. And then, they obviously LGD got their crap together and, put together, their return and they made it. But Legacy was one best of 5 for making it to World's group stage. So anything can happen in a best of 1. You take one game off of RNG, suddenly that whole group changes. Because, imagine a world where, you 1-1 with both UOL and RNG, so you go 2-2. Or is it double round robin, or is it just single?
It's double round robin.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you go 2-2. RNG goes 3-1, and they 2-0 UOL themselves. All of a sudden, RNG and Pentanet, they make it out of the group. UOL gets knocked out. So I think it's pretty doable. So personally, I'm going to be rooting for them. I love seeing those Aussie boys and New Zealanders, the Kiwis, get out there. So that's pretty exciting. MSI again, May 6th. We'll have a little bit of a preview episode for that. Speaking of episodes, though, got one really cool announcement. We are going to be getting all past episodes except for the Fabled and Lost episode 1.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. All previous episodes and all future episodes will be on various podcast distribution platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, whatever platform you use to listen to podcasts, we will hopefully be on it. We'll be uploading our episodes as quickly as we can, as soon as we get the audio. So that is really exciting. So if you are listening to this via an audio platform or on the VOD, on YouTube, wherever you are, we do stream. You're welcome. You're welcome. We do stream this podcast live every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We would love to see you in the chat. We're really excited for the off-season. Hopefully the Fly Boys get into the hyperbolic time chamber and level up a little bit. And get to see them aim for a top 6 finish in summer. Until then, Knox, let me hear some shout-outs from you. Anything you want to shout out or plug before we wrap up here?
The biggest shout out goes to the 100 Talk Boys. Go check them out. They're thrilled tonight. They're so excited to be talking about all the changes that happened to their roster tonight. I like to think that we have a good working relationship with them and continue to go support them because I know they're supporting us too. They always shout us out all the time, so I appreciate you guys. Excellent.
Curly, besides getting on Hotline League later tonight,
shut up, no one's supposed to know about that.
Any shout outs or plugs for you?
So I want to shout out the Academy team and coaching and all that stuff because honestly, they did a really good job. Even though we didn't end where we wanted, they still did excellent, and I think there might have just been something in the water in that day, and I definitely think we have the power to succeed in the summer. So I want to shout them out for being so awesome. And then, I want to shout out you guys because, you show up we've got this together, and you guys really make my Mondays feel like Fridays, to quote Hobo Johnson.
Appreciate
So thank you guys.
it,
And also,
Curly.
shout out to Sir Dargor for following.
Oh yes, yeah. If you're in the get us to 50 followers so that we can aim for getting affiliate. And then maybe we can get paid for doing this. You know, that would be.
Come fund 3 new PCs for me, Curly, and Sandy. We all need PCs.
Mine's coming in this weekend. I don't know.
JK, me and Curly then. Me and Curly need PCs.
I need
you need
a
headphones.
PC and all of the FlyQuest merch.
We'll set up a little donation bar. Give Curly and Max new PCs. Well, that's about it for Flight Check episode 5. Thank you all so much for watching. If you were here live, listening on whatever platform you were on, we're so thankful for everyone who has tuned in week after week. We will see you next week for another episode. We're trying to figure out exactly what we'll be talking about, but we'll have something for you for the next couple weeks for sure. Until then, stay safe out there. Remember to showcase greatness and have a fantastic week.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace.